good morning, good evening, good afternoon, guys, from wherever you are joining in. Thanks for joining Elite CISO's Elite Knowledge Session, which is like almost 5 years. We are continuing with these knowledge sessions, and we try to bring national, international experts on different topics around cybersecurity. And today's session, what you see on the screen, is very interesting in multiple ways, right? One of the unique thing over here is that mostly we talk about defensive strategies, right? How do we defend our environment from a defensive side? Now today we are going to talk something from a offensive perspective. What you see, the title over here is Walking in the Hacker's Shoe, the Power of Offensive Strategy, right? So we know offense is the best defense. So that's what the theme for today's session is going to be. And we have eminent speakers joining us from SentinelOne. Diwakar Dayal is not able to make it, the picture what you see over here. So Diwakar has fallen ill, he's under weather and he will not be able to join us. So he conveyed his apologies and he deputed Regional Sales Director, newly appointed Regional Sales Director, Mr. Baljot Bhatia, who has recently joined SentinelOne. So Baljot, say hi to everyone.
Hi everyone.
So that's Baljot, not new name in the industry. He has been in the cybersecurity domain forever. Uh, so uh, so Baljot Bhai is replacing Deva today, and then we have Anand joining us. So Anand is former founder and CEO of PingSafe. Welcome, Anand. Congratulations. You recently sold PingSafe to SentinelOne. Great acquisition. It was there in the industry news, and I had a chance to listen to you during Gartner, and amazing insights you shared. So we thought, why not we do this session so that the communication can go to the larger audience, right? And what you see, guys, on from the agenda perspective, 3 o'clock to 3:05, quick welcome. That's what we do. And then there'll be about 40 to 45 minutes session where Anand and Baljot and Shankar as well. They will interact with Anand and present today's topic. At the end, what you see is 3:50 to 4:15, right? So we are not going to end at 4 p.m. today. Why? Because there are a lot of things we need to cover. There are going to be multiple Wheel of Fortune. There is going to be a Kahoot quiz as well, and then LinkedIn Learning. So we have extended the session for about 15 minutes more. Okay. And then, so from a Q&A perspective, while the session is going on, what you can do is you can put your questions in a Q&A tab. What you see on the top is the Q&A tab. If it is not visible, you can put your questions on chat as well. So while the session is going on, SentinelOne team will respond to your questions over chat or Q&A tab. So that's about the Q&A. And let me quickly explain you. See, giveaways you already see on the screen, right? So amazing giveaways this time. SentinelOne has been generous enough to support and sponsor multiple giveaways for today's session. Let me talk about the LinkedIn Learning. So guys, this is very important. For LinkedIn Learning, there are 5 AirPods as giveaway. Okay. What you got to do is to win or participate in this contest is that follow the session, right? Follow what we are going to talk about in the next 60 minutes, 50 to 60 minutes. Absorb the learning. Okay. And then once the session ends, put your learning from the session on LinkedIn, right? When you put the session content, whatever you have learned on LinkedIn, post it along with the participation certificate that you will get at the end of the session. Okay. Now, when you are posting it on LinkedIn, ensure that you tag EliteCISOs and SentinelOne. And once the post is done, once you tag EliteCISO and SentinelOne, so we will get the ping, we will review the post which is there, and then we will announce the winners accordingly. How does a successful post looks like? Let me show you one example from a couple of years back, because this is not a new format. We have been doing it. The post that you see over here is from Ashish Chandra Mishra, from who is director in which company? I forgot the name. So look at the post, right? Good content. He went through the session, he understood, and then he posted all the information. He uploaded this certificate. He tagged Elite CISO, and then we had a session with Verone. So that's what he posted. Ashish is with Unilever. I could recall. It's just the age. I'm catching up on that. Okay, guys. So that's how it looks like. And let me go back to this slide. That's about the LinkedIn contest, and it is already 3:05. Let me quickly also remind you about the stand and attend challenge that we give. Stand and attend challenge is very important, because if you're going to sit, you will have all these problems that you see on the left hand side, right? If you're gonna stand First of all, what's going to happen is better brain function, right? The better brain function is very much important today because you are going to participate in LinkedIn learning. So stand, absorb the knowledge, and then post it on LinkedIn. With this, we have 361 participants joining in today. That's what I see on the screen. With this, let me transfer it over to Baljot for the introduction and take the session forward. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you, Vikas. Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. So, dear esteemed CISOs, on behalf of SentinelOne, it's with great pleasure that I extend a warm welcome to all of you for joining us today for this webinar on walking in the hacker's shoes, the power of offensive strategy. In an era where digital transformation is revolutionizing the way we work, digital transformation has been the buzzword across. It's the way now we communicate, we interact. Ensuring a robust security measure has become paramount. As threat actors evolve and cyber attacks grow increasingly sophisticated, it is imperative for all the organization and individuals alike to stay vigilant and proactive in safeguarding their digital assets and sensitive information. Our webinar today aims to delve into the latest trends, challenges, and best practices in cloud security, offering you valuable insights and actionable strategies to bolster your defenses and mitigate the risk effectively. From talking about cloud security, risk associated with it, and how an attacker thinks, we have curated a comprehensive agenda which is designed to empower you with the knowledge and tools needed to navigate the complex cloud security landscape confidentially. Today, we are privileged to have our own Mark Zuckerberg, as I like to call Anand, our esteemed expert and thought leader in the field of cloud security, as speaker for today's webinar. Uh, so probably what we will do is I will take the next 5 minutes covering a brief about cloud security. The next 30 minutes between me and Shankar and between the audience, we are going to have a Q&A with Anand on his thought leadership in this cloud security world, and we will make it very interactive. So as we embark on this insightful journey together, I encourage active participation, uh, engagement. You are free to chat, free to put Q&As, as Vikas said, and let's leverage this platform to share our experiences, exchange idea, and foster collaborative learning in pursuit of a safer cloud environment for all of us. So once again, a heartfelt welcome to each one of you. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward for an enriching and productive session ahead. So I would just take the next 5 minutes to give you a brief about what we are going to talk about the cloud security landscape. What is Gartner talking about? What are actors thinking about? And then between me and Shankar, we'll have a Q&A along with the audience for Anand to have it. So just give me 1 second and I'll just bring the deck up. Team, are you able to see my deck?
Yeah, we can see it. Go to the first slide. Cool. We can see it.
Perfect. So as the topic is very, very interesting, as Vikas said today, we are going to talk from a different perspective. Anand has one of been the world's leading bug bounty hunter, who has done ethical hacking into the largest and one of the most secure organization that we have thought about. We are going to hear from him on how an hackers think to compromise an organization, and then we are going to talk about the power of offensive strategy. So that's going to be the topic that we are going to cover about. The agenda, will keep it very simple. For the next 5 minutes, as I said, we will be talking about the changing landscape that we are in. Post that, 30 minutes and inspiration to build innovation, the Ping Safe company, which Anand found. And we are proud to say at SentinelOne that we invested in our Indian company. And the next 10 minutes, we'll talk about the road ahead for the cloud security. Uh, So today, if we see that the threat actors are targeting just not the endpoints or the server, they have started coming into the cloud world as well. We were probably, when we started the cloud journey, there was a myth that was there that the cloud is going to be secure. And even the CSPs have said that it's a shared responsibility model, which everybody needs to think about, where all the CSP says that we are going to be responsible for our infra, but for your own data or how you host your data, the customers are going to be responsible. And that's where we have started seeing a lot of adversaries today moving into the cloud environment. We are seeing an increase in the number of cloud breaches. If you see the recent breaches which has happened, you will be amazed to see that Azure got breached. We got a high-profile automobile vehicle manufacturer who got breached on his cloud. Today, we are seeing a lot of adversaries who are just not capable of infiltrating into your environment, but also into the cloud environment. We are seeing a lot of, as SentinelOne, we are deployed in a lot of organization, and we see a lot of sophisticated attacks which are coming into the picture in the cloud world, where we are seeing a lot of AI being used by the bad actors. So just not the good guys are talking about AI, but the bad actors are also, the adversaries are also using a lot of AI to automate their attacks. We are seeing a lot of supply chain campaigns which have been coming up in the recent future. What Gartner predicts that by 2025, 90% of the new digital workloads are going to be deployed on the cloud native platform, as per 30%, which were there in 2021. So the adoption of cloud is tremendous. You talk to any company of any size, any form, whether they are the largest of the enterprises who had their own data centers, they are gradually moving to the cloud. They have now the cloud first strategy, where they say that any new application that they are going to develop or build, that is going to be built for the cloud. We have seen a lot of digital native companies. We have CISOs from a lot of digital native organization today were born in the cloud. So as Gartner predicts, we are seeing a similar trend coming into the picture, where we see 95% of our workload being spun up in the cloud today. What does that mean? So ransomware today is just not only limited to the endpoints or to the server. We have seen them pivot now to the cloud as well. What it means that the attackers or the adversaries have now confidence that they can evade the cloud as well. They are able to discover, do the persistence, the lateral movement within cloud, and not just cloud. We have seen them doing infiltration from a multi-cloud environment as well. That means they came in through a GCP and it went into a customer AWS environment as well. We are seeing them modifying and disabling cloud services a lot these days. There are now toolkits like open source toolkits which are readily available on the internet, like FBot, Alien Fox, who can be leveraged for attacking the cloud. Another important aspect that we see is that there is a siloed in the way the good guys have been working. If you look at the way there is a relationship between the DevOps and the security today, we see that when we speak to the DevOps team or the security team, the teams have been somewhere working in silos. So we have seen that there has been a 1300% increase in the threads which have been circulating via the open source package repositories, and there has been pronounced monitoring and detection gaps which have been capable of, where the attackers have been capable of tampering into the code and coming into the pre-deployment lifecycle, which we call about shift left. We have seen attackers getting hold of the code, the build, getting into it, tweaking into it, and then they have the entire code at their disposal. As we see, when we talk about facts, there has been a 90% counterproductive between the DevOps and the security teams. 10% of the people say that there has been no collaboration. 52% of the people whom we asked said there is limited relationship between the DevOps and the security teams that we speak. So the good guys are collaborating, whereas we as the bad guys have been collaborating. What we need to do as good guys, we also need to collaborate and use the AI effectively. So what we want to say is that the cloud security today has been broken. What we have been doing is throwing a tool over a tool. We bought a CSPM from someone. We saw a new kind of attack from a malware. We throw in a CWP, and I'm extremely sorry for using the acronym, really bad at it. So let me just put it. When we saw some attacks coming in because of posture, we threw in a cloud security posture management top of it. We were able to fix that. We now saw attackers creeping in through malware. We said we will put a malware on top of that. There were new vendors who came in who said we will give you a CWP. When we fixed it to a CWP, the attackers started leveraging the identity part. We threw another tool on top of that. We said we'll buy another tool called 𝐼𝐚 or CIEM, which is your cloud infrastructure and entitlement management. We threw another tool. So as an industry, we have been notorious of throwing a tool over a tool, which has led to a lot of complexity. So the tools, the console, the multi-cloud environment, all these leads to a broken cloud security today. And that's where we see a lack of context. There is no correlation, which leads to the broken racy matrices that comes as part of it. So all these tools, if you see the AWS, the Lambda, the services, the OpenShift platform, the shift left part that we talk about, the code, the repository, all these things add to complexity. And all these are inspiration for innovation. And that's where I want to welcome our thought leader, our rising star, Anand, one of the best persons we have in the industry to talk about cloud security, to talk more about his journey of starting PingSafe, how he came in from an attacker mindset to defend our cloud. So defend your cloud with an attacker mindset is what we want to talk with Anand on the PingSafe journey that he has come in for. So we'd like to welcome Anand. In this, I'll just stop sharing and I'll have my colleague Shankar between me, Shankar, and if there are any Q&As, please feel free to drop in and we will like to ask those questions to Anand as well. So over to Shankar.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Baljot. The quick check on my audio. I'm assuming, as always, should be fine. I'm a loud guy. So quick check, you can all hear me. And a
Yes.
big thank you to all of you. You know, it's as a marketer, I can tell you, it's so heartening to see such amazing participation. Vikas, hats off. I know we had a promise. You've helped me fulfill that. So a big welcome to all of you. Thank you for being here, Baljot. Amazing session. And Anand, thank you. I know you're not in the country, but appreciate your time and appreciate the fact that you're joining us from wherever you are. I don't want to disclose because you're an important personality. We don't want people reaching out to you. So Anand, let me begin by asking some very interesting questions. And to all the attendees, let me tell you, some of these moments are such that we want to ask everything. So please, as Baljot said, use the Q&A widget, ask questions. We've got Kushagra, who's an expert. He can answer those questions, and there are some interesting, important questions. We'll have Anand answer them in live. So Anand, let me kick it off. And as a non-techie person, I'm going to ask you all interesting questions. So first is tell us something about yourself, Anand. Tell us, what was it that prompted you to take the field of cybersecurity? What has been your journey? And interestingly, what prompted you to actually start PingSafe?
Yeah, so first of all, thank you so much for having me here, Shankar, Baljot, and Vikas. Good afternoon, everyone. And so I'm looking forward to interact with all of you. About my journey, it was like very accidental. I was preparing for IIT JEE in Kota in 2008, and there were like cyber cafes at that point in time. I used to go to cyber cafes, and then someday it was like I got to knew about like a word called phishing. So I googled like how to hack Orkut account, and then there were few steps which came in, which I replicated, and it was so easy, right? So that really got me interested into security a lot. Though I couldn't get into IIT JEE, but after 2 years, I joined VIT Chennai, and I did my BTech from over there. So during college days, I saw a tweet on Twitter saying there was a researcher who had found a bug on Facebook, which was and he got paid for it. And given I was like first engineer in my family, I come from a very small village in Rajasthan, had education loan to pay off and all that. I thought this is a good way of earning. So let's try bug bounty. And I used to code in PHP at that point in time, and Facebook was written in PHP. So, so after like few months of struggle, looking out for reading blogs of other security researchers, I was able to figure out a bug on Facebook, and I was paid like $500 for it. So $500 for it. And I couldn't sleep that night. And so because it's amazing, right? When you get such a big amount during your college days, and you could easily pay, you could use that amount, right? So then I got so much interested, and I ended up, this was in like 2013, then in 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, I ended up becoming one of the top 5 researchers on Facebook, Uber's, Twitter's, LinkedIn's bug bounty program. Figured out issues like compromising any Uber account in the world, using Uber to ride for free, compromising any Facebook account out there, then using Facebook to log in into all the other websites using login with Facebook option, right? So ये सब मैं कर रहा था, but एक दिन आया, then I ended up realizing that what I am doing is like impacting lives of billions of people who are out there. And indirectly, like I'm securing like the user data which is out there, right? And imagine like I am sharing, I somehow get to know like where Shankar is sitting right now, or maybe your latitude, longitude, or your home address or something like that. So then I thought that was a moment. I thought that I should build out something which is more scalable, which can help companies to secure their infrastructure, applications, and API. And then I had started a services company, me and my brother, for like it was mostly doing pen testing. We started on our own, living. I was employed at Flipkart. Um so घर पे तो I think it was a very different situation when I didn't tell them कि I am going to do a startup. So otherwise it would have created lot of problems. But then I started that services company. Then after 3-4 years, there were some of our customers who were using some of the open source tooling on AWS, GCP, mostly AWS and GCP. And इनमें क्या होता था कि we used to do these audits, one time pen testing of cloud or applications 6 months में एक बार, mostly audit के लिए साल में एक बार, राइट? बट ऐसे कुछ कंटिन्यूअस नहीं था उनसे जिनसे उनको बेसिकली आइडिया लगे. तो होता क्या था कि हमने आज ऑडिट किया, एंड आफ्टर फ्यू डेज किसी some DevOps team, they open up a port to public, and then it gets listed over Shodan, and then उसमें बिटकॉइन माइनिंग का मैसेज आ जाता है MongoDB डेटाबेस में. तो ये काफी फ्रीक्वेंट हो रहा था. एंड so, and existing solutions were all working in silos, as Baljot shared in earlier slides, and this was a very big problem. So I thought that if my mission is to help secure billions of user data out there, I can't do it manually by doing bug bounties, right? So I was like, मैं कुछ एक system build करता हूँ, me and my team, which is like more scalable and which could be used by companies around the world, and build out a product which is very, very scalable. So I left my services company, started this on my own, where we ended up building a very comprehensive product, doing like automated real-time monitoring from an attacker's perspective on a company's cloud infrastructure. So yeah, story, and we grew very fast in past 2 years. We started in Feb 2022, grew very fast, very, very fast in terms of customers, in terms of technology, because we saw a very clear gap in the market, which no one else was doing in the market. And that was very, very unique from my bug bounty experience of 12 years. So
thanks, Anand. A very inspiring story. So Anand, I'll just take a few questions which have been posted on the chat, which will just help us ask. We have got a question from Mr. Bhaskar Kumar where he asks, what are the key challenges in implementing effective cybersecurity measures in a cloud computing environment, and how can these challenges be addressed to ensure data protection and system integrity?
Yes. So the key challenges, the first key challenge is when companies are moving to cloud, or they are migrating to cloud or already using cloud, right? So internally companies में system काफी complex होता है, right? Cloud में AWS में you will find 100 services, GCP में 100 services, Azure में 100 services, right? और आप security team में हो, but then there are DevOps team जो continuously change कर रही है, developers भी उनको भी access होता है, वो continuously change करते हैं, right? So the first and foremost challenge is like visibility of cloud state. What are the misconfigurations, right? कि किस change की वजह से क्या misconfiguration हो रही है, right? What and the second one is like more around in the current tools which you see, mostly जो हमने challenge देखा were very noisy, all working in silos, right? This is a known fact. ये everyone knows about it now. So that's the most key part that I feel like providing complete visibility on cloud state across multi-cloud environment of security issues, plus tracking and monitoring like every change what could lead to a security issue.
So Anand, if I summarize you well, what you are saying is that the first need of the hour is to get visibility of your cloud estate. How does it look like? That's so if I have to put in Anand's word, you need to first know what you are protecting before you are protecting. So visibility becomes a very prime challenge, and it gives Anand, we have a few more questions which are coming up. What is the effective way of starting cloud security journey? Right balance between cost and security outcome. So how do somebody start his security journey, enterprise start their security, cloud security journey?
I think the best way would be I have heard this from multiple CISOs where they are saying कि यार हम तो we are still migrating to cloud, but I would like to say जब migrate कर रहे हो तभी सबसे ज़्यादा changes होते हैं, right? And mostly enterprises में what I have seen is I have seen that we have third party vendors who work on the cloud, right? They don't have internal expertise, तो उसमें और chances ज़्यादा हो जाते हैं security के. Security misconfigurations के, where if you look at digital native companies, they have their own security team, right? So it's not like if you are on cloud or you are migrating to cloud, you should have started security journey. You are already late. You should have prepared like security guidelines, cloud security guidelines, and should have shared with your third party vendor or start using a CNAP product, right? Or have put some controls and checks and balances in place like from very early on.
Perfect. Thank you, Anand, for that. So the gist again comes is that the security needs to start from the day one rather than waiting for the applications to be ported and then we think about cloud security. Thanks for that, Anand. Shankar, over to you. Questions for that.
Perfect. Anand, I'm taking the liberty of asking in Hindi. सारे audience Delhi के ही हैं, so I'm sure I can do that. I keep hearing this term hackers mindset, and hackers different तरीके से सोचते हैं. कभी कभी तो लगता है it's so common, हम लोग भी, nothing stops from us thinking in that way. But क्या ऐसा कुछ different है? Do you actually feel that, the entire thought process of an organization, let's say a formal CISO or his team, and versus a hacker, is there something that actually is different?
There is a lot of differentiation. एक example देता हूँ मैं. Let me share a story. So in 2019, I encountered a bug on app called Uber, right? Which is very famous. Everyone knows it, right? बग की स्टोरी बताता हूँ क्या था. तो देयर वाज राइडर ऐप इन उबर, जहाँ पे राइडर ऐप आप देखते हो, राइड बुक करते हो, राइट? वेरी सिंपल ऐप. तो उसमें देयर वाज अ लो सीवियरिटी बग व्हिच आई हैड फाउंड, व्हिच वाज लीकिंग लाइक यूजर आईडी ऑफ अ यूजर बाय सप्लाइंग ईमेल एड्रेस और फोन नंबर ऑफ अ यूजर, राइट? तो एक लो सीवियरिटी बग है, राइट? कोई फिक्स नहीं करेगा बिकॉज यू आर गेटिंग यूजर आईडी, कुछ क्रिटिकल नहीं है. सो देन व्हाट आई डिड इज I started that I want to change this vulnerability to some other vulnerability to create a critical bug. So I registered myself as a Uber driver. It took me a month. I registered myself as a Uber driver. Then I found another bug in the Uber driver app where I could supply that user ID in some other vulnerable API of Uber driver and was able to get hold of session ID of any other user in the world. तो अगर मुझे Uber account hack करना है किसी का, so it was more like I supply the email address or phone number. Immediately I get user ID and I use that user ID to get session ID in the API response on the Uber driver app, right? So I combined a low severity bug with another low severity bug to create a critical bug, right? And this is what we ended up fixing in our product, right? So So basically, like, that's the creativity. Similarly, when you look at cloud, you need to understand कि vendor consolidate करने से कुछ नहीं होगा. Like if you have seven different tabs, right? All tool, though they are in the same dashboard, right? But seven different products in a single dashboard. They are not correlating things on the back end, right? So we added this intelligence when we were building PingSafe, which helped us. So this was one example. So similarly for BFSI customers, right? If you have if there is a bank, my first and foremost attack would be like registering myself as a bank agent somehow, right? Because there would be an agent app, so people won't prioritize that in their security always, right? Similarly, infra. So so there is a different thought process, and we like continuously monitor your all your assets. While I was doing bug bounty, IP addresses, what all is coming in, we had written tools to kind of automatically let, like, every 15 minutes we scan and get to know about these assets and start looking out for new things. Whenever you do any new press release about a new feature or product, right, we start testing that feature or product, right? So there are these things completely negative, but yeah. So I hope I
Thanks, Anand.
answered.
Yeah, thank you, Anand. Another very interesting question has come in from one CISO. Other than monitoring and correcting misconfiguration and access controls, which are the IAM in the cloud, what other common issues should a CISO focus to improve cloud security?
Where is the question?
This is the second last one
Chat में or
And look
Q&A?
in the chat
in
section.
the
In the
chat.
Q&A section, I have been responding. You look
Yeah.
in the chat section.
Okay, other than monitoring and correcting misconfigurations and access controls, what are, so the most important part is like when you are migrating to cloud, or if you have already migrated to cloud, the other important key aspect is like shift left scanning. So instead of your DevOps team using doing changes directly on the UI of AWS GCP, or using command line to do the changes, there is something called infrastructure as code. So it's a way to deploy your infrastructure using code. So all these tools can help you like detect and prevent issues in the pre-production environment itself before even pushing things to production. So this would enable like proper checks and balances. You can define all the secure things, secure templates in Terraform, CloudFormation, and that can be ported across your entire organization. These are my secure templates that I have. Yeah.
Perfect. I have one question, Anand, which is, again, something which is fairly interesting. So, we heard from you कैसे आपने Uber का एक, too low vulnerability scope plug किया and एक interesting creatively plug किया. Now, tell us, while at, PingSafe or now SentinelOne, is there something interesting you did for an organization proactively, which helped them uh, either in their security strategy, which was more of not a mission as a bug bounty, but something that you help them proactively. Any example around that?
Yes. So while I was doing the services company, right, I used to, like, even during PingSafe time, I used to help companies create secure design in code, infra, right, and help them like suggest what are the good things out there which they can do. I always like insisted companies to start thinking like an attacker and also run bug bounty programs, because it's not like attackers won't find you if you don't run a bounty program. They are always like looking out for you, right? They might already have your data, and it's not like if you run that, you are going to be exposed. So be more open, be more transparent, and start acknowledging. So yeah.
Thanks, Anand, for that. Another one very interesting. So, how does S1 cloud security approach offensive security, and what
Yeah.
role does it play in ensuring a robust cybersecurity posture for our clients?
Yeah. So basically, before even coming to offensive security, right, I would share more details which you also spoke about, right? So there was a clear gap that we saw in the market. There were 7, 8 different tools one part of another big company, same bigger company, larger incumbent acquired another company, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, right? So we saw a gap key. There is no common database on the back end. So though it's a vendor consolidation, but it was not a technical consolidation. So IAC doesn't talk to secret scanning, or cloud misconfiguration doesn't talk to secret scanning, right? So that was not happening. So we saw that correlation, like we should build something like an attacker, which is like traversing through all these things, and they have a single database, and we share those findings over a graph, right? So that was the main idea. That ended up like, if we have like 10,000, 50,000 issues coming in all these 7 different things, it came down to like maybe 1,000, right? But still 1,000 alerts are very, very high, right? Then what we did is, because of my experience into bug bounty, right? We had written these things to find exploitable issues on companies' cloud infra from outside, on all these bigger companies, right? So we kind of built a system which was simulating attacks like an attacker using very harmless payloads. It won't take your environment down or something like that. So it will run that, we'll run that on all those 1,000 issues. And we'll say, this is how this can be replicated on your system from outside using step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4 with clear evidences. So that now security teams only have like 50 issues to replicate, and they only focus on like very, very critical issues. That's what offensive security engine is.
Perfect. Thank you, Anand, for that. Shankar, over to you.
And Anand, again, I asked very generic questions. So tell me, we all hear about lots of people, proliferation of cloud workloads, organizations adopting cloud technologies. Now, what is that, if I can say, what is that USP, or what is that one thing that probably S1 cloud security brings to the table, and especially, addressing that cloud challenges, um, which organizations might face now that the adoption towards cloud is so prominent?
Yeah. So there are multiple things. So one is the context aware thing that we bring because of the technology consolidation that we do on the back end, then showing clear exploit paths on our graph, like how some things are connected in your cloud environment. So for example, if you have 300 services being used in 3 different clouds, we'll get all your assets, even if you are running like 5 lakh assets on each of them, and then we'll show how something is connected to each other, and then we'll be able to show like how what is the exact exploit path from outside. Then there is offensive security engine that we have on top of it. Then we have our very, very strong offering on CWS side, the workload protection agent that we have, right? It's built on ePBF, and it's very scalable, right? So it's more like you combine agentless into a single platform, and then deliver it nicely, so that we are able to really solve for customers. And then we have malware scanning on S3, which is on the data security side.
I think we'll have to do another session only on, what all you can do. And this is probably we'll work with Vikas. We'll have a demo on how this is done. Baljot, anything interesting from the audience?
I think there's one good question. Is S1 Cloud Security provide common single platform monitor security events from multiple clouds environment, such as Azure, GCP, Oracle, AWS, etc.?
Yes.
I think he answered that.
Correct.
Baljot, if you
Uh,
can take the other one that I've tagged you in as well.
Could you please explain if the security tool is necessary, considering that Azure and AWS come with default features?
So maybe, Baljot, if you would like to
I'll
take
take
that.
it up. I'll take it up. So when you talk about all these companies like AWS or Azure, they do provide their native security. But if you look at, they are not proper security companies. AWS does not have too much leeway when it comes to Microsoft or on GCP. So tools like SentinelOne can give you one single pane of glass where you can have a view of your entire cloud estate. What Anand talked about, that you first need to know what you are protecting. So the first thing that S1 delivers to you is visibility. The second thing that S1 delivers to you is one single pane of glass for your entire policies. That means you need not look at different consoles from a AWS, from a Azure, or you need different services like AWS Inspector or AWS different services. One single console for all your multi-cloud environments to give you one single posture of how your cloud estate looks like. That's what we deliver to you as one single platform. On top of that, we provide you runtime security with our S1 agent, which is very, very critical. So we just do not detect, we also protect you from all the adversaries which are there to attack you. So that's one. Shankar, anything before we break in with Anand? Maybe a few last questions which we can come up?
I have many. I think checking with Vikas, are you okay if we take 5 more minutes? Because you've got Kahoot, etc. Just checking with
Yeah,
you on time.
so we can take 5 minutes. That should be okay.
Perfect, perfect. So Anand, let's ask a very interesting one. So I'm just turning towards more around, the entire landscape of regulatory compliances. Now, especially with, so many new acts that come up, how is the S1 cloud security? How compliant are we? And let's say an organization who uses S1 cloud security, would it help them to, check all the boxes when it comes to a compliance checklist?
Yes. So this is a very great question. So I think this would make this. So we have this something called compliance dashboard where companies, CISOs can track their compliance on a daily basis, on a real-time basis, not even daily, like every few minutes, right? So it's not like you are doing compliance manually or 6 mahine baad we figure out ki something was not compliant from past 5 months, right? So we have this nice compliance dashboard. We cover SEBI compliance, RBI compliance, CIS compliance, HIPAA, PCI, everything. So it's like all real time. And it's like very beneficial because the teams can download reports internally, right? And they can share it with external auditors as well. Yeah. And talking
So Anand,
about our compliance, yeah, we are like SOC 2, Type 2 compliant, FedRAMP compliant, so which is one of the very solid standard in the industry.
So Anand, what you brought out is a very interesting point that being an Indian company, we are working on RBI and SEBI compliances as well. So that
Yes.
gives an added advantage to our Indian CISOs who need to comply to these regulators. So thanks for bringing a very interesting point on this compliance as well.
And Anand, a very interesting question, and something that I've been reading a lot, and we've had some interesting debates internally. The entire approach of consolidating, one stack over the other. There's a new shiny toy in the market, and you just want to, include that in your stack as well. Now, even the hackers are observing this, consolidation kind of an approach that a typical organization might follow versus a best of breed kind of an approach. So how do you foresee this from a hacker's mindset? Do you think that probably this is very attractive to a hacker, or is a hacker immune to something like this?
No, so this is also very interesting question. So I see larger companies, trillion-dollar companies, mostly large OEMs building some security capabilities, but we have to understand at the end of the day, like that's not their core business, right? And they are just if we look at some of the products, I have compared that myself in my past 2 years of journey. They don't have correlation that we talked about in the past, like different tabs, right? Major capabilities like missing on the security suite. So I think if we have to really make cloud secure, we have to go towards technology consolidation, having single thing on the backend, and having more and more context, using attacker intelligence to fix for this. That's the key. I don't want to name anyone because I don't like that, but this is what will solve from an attacker's perspective.
Perfect. I think we've got a good question, Baljot, on the Q&A widget.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, shall I go ahead? So Anand
Yeah, please
says,
go ahead.
what would be the best practice for any product development organization to follow? DevSecOps in the ecosystem versus DevOps plus external independent bug bounty as part of the change management process. What would you recommend?
Yeah, so I would recommend DevSecOps plus running external independent bug bounty too. Once we are done with our internal assessments, like we can do private bounties and not opening it to everyone else. be it applications, infra, whatever there is, like invite 20 hackers and try ask them like how they can ethically figure out issues in the system. Yeah. And the second one, so we are not a bug bounty company. We don't do bug bounty as a service. I was sharing that from my past experience. The second question, yeah.
Thanks, Anand, for that. I think there are a lot of questions. We will try to reply to as many of them as we can individually, and we will work with Vikas, as Shankar said, to schedule another session to show you the capabilities that we deliver. But thank you everyone for a great time. Thank you, Anand, for that. I'll just take another quick 5 minutes to talk about what we discussed, what as SentinelOne capabilities we have, and probably then we will open the house for Kahoot and the other uh, stuff. Is that perfectly fine?
All good, Baljot.
Yes.
Team, can you see my screen? Is it visible now on the cloud native security?
Yeah, we can see it. Go ahead, please.
Thanks. So thanks, Anand. Thanks for this wonderful session. Thanks for sharing all the brilliant insights, how an attacker thinks, what we are building up. So to everyone in this audience, so now the new platform that we have with SentinelOne, it's called the Cloud Native Security, where we offer the cloud security posture management to talk about if there are any gaps in the posture which can be fixed, if there are any S3 buckets which are open to the internet which needs to be fixed, or is there any encryption that need to be done. We offer a very, very unique stuff, which is called the agentless vulnerability scanning. That means without deploying any agents, without having any load pushed into your environment, we will be able to give you a view of the vulnerabilities which exist within your cloud environment. Infrastructure as a code. One very important thing which Anand highlighted was everything that we have been talking today has been post-production. That means when the code has been pushed, we realize that there are vulnerabilities which need to be fixed up. With infrastructure as a code, we come to the shift left part of it, where we start scanning your code for any misconfiguration, vulnerabilities, malware, which is a very, very important stuff. And as Anand highlighted, this needs to be embedded and be part of your security. We offer container and Kubernetes security and secret scanning of the public and private as well. So as all the adversaries today are using AI, we realize that we also need to use the AI. The cloud requires protection with AI today, at which requires machine speed blocking, where we can look at the behavioral and the next gen kind of attacks, and we can give an automated response. So all this is today powered by the SentinelOne platform in the cloud security that we discussed. So we give you a comprehensive autonomous cloud security platform where we are giving you the cloud native security, which is completely agentless. We also offer you cloud workload security, which is an agent-based threat protection for servers and container. And then something very unique, which nobody is offering today, is the cloud data security, where we are able to scan your S3 and the NetApp storage, which delivers to you a complete, comprehensive CNAPP, which is your cloud native application protection platform. So whatever I have discussed, it's for everyone. You might get it in your Kahoot questions as well. So I might be answering a few Kahoot questions for you, which would be coming up. So with SentinelOne, we offer you a complete stuff. I'll just take a quick minute of how SentinelOne has been a leader and has completely transformed the way the cloud security has been done. So as SentinelOne, we started in the year 2013. We are 10 years young, as I would like to call. We completely disrupted the AV industry, which was completely working on DATs, on signatures. And we said we are going to be the first one who are going to use an AI-based protection. So without any signatures, we started giving the endpoint protection and the EDR protection to our customers. We were one of the pioneers for the Linux EDR, for the Mac EDR, and something very unique that we offer is a rollback in case of a ransomware. So in case of a ransomware, we are able to roll back to the last proper edition of your environment, and one of the ones who gave the ransomware warranty. We are the ones who are now pioneering the AI security, the first AI-based workload protection company, where we are going to say that we do not require human. We will be able to, I would say, add the human part the AI part to the human touch, where we will say what is required to do threat hunting, how to do threat hunting and everything. And on top of that, we have a complete data plus AI layer coming up, which is the singularity layer. Year 2024, a new year for us, where we acquired the PingSafe CNAPP capabilities, and we are the first one to offer a unified security data lake, or the first one to have the open XDR, where so as SentinelOne, we started as an endpoint company, and we realized data is going to be the next thing that the endpoint is going to do. So all the telemetry goes into our Singularity platform, and it is backed by our own S1 Singularity Data Lake, which is our data lake, where we take logs or telemetry from the endpoint, the identity, the cloud, the vulnerability management, and the services that we do. Not just that, we are the first one, as I said, the open XDR platform, where we just do not ingest telemetry from our products. We are able to take telemetry from your email solution, from any CASB solution that you have been using, from any web or any threat intel or firewall that you have been using. So one platform which gives you a complete data lake for all your security and log analytics, which we deliver. As I said, AI is going to be the new stuff. So we are going to augment our AI capabilities as we move ahead. So if attackers are using AI, should the good guys not be using AI is what we see. And that's where we are going to innovate on the AI. We are the first one who have innovated on the AI. And we are going to give you Auto Investigator, which is automatically going to investigate, remediate threats without human intervention. We are coming up with a SecOps assistant, which will help your analyst or your threat hunter, help him guide on how to do hunting and how to do investigation. And we are going to be the first one to be coming up with a configuration assistant, which is going to help your system admins through on help you identify the common configuration or the misconfigurations if there are any in your environment. And that's going to be named Purple AI. So look out, talk to us more on what we are doing on the AI stuff, and we'll be happy to talk on that. So Vikas, thank you for all that. Thank you everyone for joining us. Over to Vikas for the next session.